Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Special video today for fans of stats and percentages as I show you what happens when you farm Glurch, the first boss you should take on in Core Keeper 1.0. Also a guide on how to find him, how to kill him and what you'll get as well if you're brand new to the game. Find this video useful, leave a like, let's go. So you'll find him pretty much 65 squares away from core, so you have to kind of do a circle generally like that if you're having trouble finding him all around your core, but generally look also for slimes. That's going to be a big indicator in caverns of that you might be close to him. Also in 1.0 it does look like there is a waypoint pretty close to every boss fight, at least if they're not in a maze. Now the first time you come across Glurch, he will just be sitting there, and obviously you don't really want to aggro him straight away unless you already got the right gear. Not essential, but I would say definitely helpful if you've got the raincoat and rain trousers, which you can either craft or pick up from loot drops killing slimes. These two items will allow you to go over the slime puddles without losing as much speed. Otherwise you will probably need either the swift ring or the swift feather to really help you avoid his pounces. And make sure you've eaten something with peppers to get as much maximum speed as possible. Now range is always great, but the actual new classes are just as good as well, obviously using your mage and any ones that you've picked up or using your tome. Glurch will run around destroying any dirt that he falls on, and you can lure him a little bit if you want to start clearing out more of this and just pick up some easy resources. But don't go too far, as if you go venturing way beyond where you originally found him, it'll eventually just go back and he'll start respawning his health. If you can sneak around him, it's definitely better to go ahead and take care of any of the spiky slimes, and if you've managed to get a decent hoe, basically one that does more than one square, you can actually remove some of the floor slime if you haven't managed to pick up any of the fast moving gear. Otherwise it's just about having enough health to run around him. When he gets down to 30% health he'll start enraging and he'll just attack you even faster. And as you can see with the new warlock class, I pretty much kicked his butt super easy, as well as utilising the swift feather accessory. The bearded trader has spawned, don't panic, you can go and trade with him right here, but obviously you're going to get the slime jar inside the chest here, and this is how you can bring him back to your base, by putting it in a room with a bed and a torch, no bigger than 8x8 squares, and he should spawn. He'll sell you some basics, and his inventory will increase as you explore and uncover new areas. So a good amount of loot, you'll always get the Glurch eye, that's the figurine that you can go ahead and put inside the core to help progression, as well as obviously the slime jar, like I said, that's what you're going to use to call the trader. And then there's percentage chances of getting the rest, but you pretty much always guaranteed to get some slime and then a mixture of rolls from others. So is it worth refighting him over and over again? So to do rerolls of boss fights, you are going to need to buy a summoning idol from the second trader that you're able to find once you've defeated Gorm the Devourer. And it's the same deal, defeat him, you'll get an item that you then place in a room, and then you can go ahead and buy the giant summoning idol. It does cost 500 credits, so it's not cheap, and this is why I asked the question if it's worth farming and using up all of your credits or coins on this boss. So anyhow, once you've bought one or two, if you've got enough coins, head back to the runestone where you first encountered Glurch. Go ahead and put a bunch of traps down to make your life super quick and easy. Obviously iron ones are going to be best. I do believe it will break any of the wooden or copper ones, but it should still do damage. So invest a little bit, as you can always pick these up and you'll be using these over and over again to go ahead and farm some of the other slime bosses eventually. Clear one spot on the actual idol stone, put the idol down, and pretty much he'll spawn in and die pretty much within 2 hits. Super quick and effective way. Now you are kind of missing out on getting either some hit points yourself and getting experience, so that's something to consider, but otherwise I figure it was still pretty easy to do it this way. So as said, you're guaranteed to get the slime oil jar, you're guaranteed to get the Glurch eye, as well as a chest if it has broken on the actual spikes. And then you've got basically 7 chances of getting loot from a pool of about 19 items. So with the help of the wiki and data mining, it does look like you're guaranteed to get at least 8 to 10 pieces of slime. That actually counts for 2 of the possible items that you will get, i.e. drops. And then it's a mixture of either getting some apprentice gear or ranger gear, as well as some accessories and a small chance of picking up a sticky stick stave or a slime pet. In fact, slightly out of order, but the first time I did this I also managed to get hold of the Glurch figurine. But there are some percentages with these that I'm going to start rattling off. So, quick recap, you'll always get access to the trader afterwards. You won't necessarily get another trader appear if you've already gone and placed one in your base. I'm just using creative mode to highlight it. The slime oil, it kind of seems useless, but you can go ahead and sell the rest of them that you pick up for 150 coins each, as you'll only need one for your trader, and I don't think you can have more than one trader of the same type in any kind of world. The Glurch eye is probably the most useless though. Once you put it into the Glurch statue, there's no other uses for it that I can see, and you can't sell it as it doesn't give you any coins. But it's always handy getting a chest, so they're the guaranteed items you'll always get. Then you should have one pretty much roll or chance of picking up one of these items that you see here in the top chest, with the biggest percentage chance of picking up the sticky stick stave at 15%, and then you've got the rosemary blob necklace, the melting crystal ring, and the oozy egg, which is the slime pet, all about nearly 10%. Then you've got slightly lesser chance of picking up one piece of the either ranger or apprentice clothing, as well as the crescent ring. If you then add in the other 6 rolls, according to the wiki, that could potentially drop, effectively giving you 7 items guaranteed every time you fight him. And this is kind of what it looks like from left to right in percentage chance. Now there's 2 kind of percentages you need to think about here. You've got the 1 roll that you get, and some of these will obviously have more than 1 roll or chance of dropping, and then that translates to the overall percentage. But effectively 7 rolls of chances getting these, with the slime being 8% chance, 48% chance of getting ancient gemstones, as well as copper ore, 27% chance of getting mechanical parts, tin ore, rare candy, and the sticky stick. Now the sticky stick has got a better chance of dropping it in the first roll, but it also gets included in the next 6 as well. And as you saw, I got a few of them from taking on Glurch. After that, 21% chance of the Glurch figurine, then the melting crystal, the blobbery rosemary necklace, as well as the oozy egg, all 17% chance. Then 14% chance of basically getting the rusty dagger and any of the ranger gear, as well as 14% chance of getting any one of the apprentice stuff and the crescent ring. So let me know if you're testing or if you've done it a bunch of times, does this match up? You should be getting the majority of this stuff more than you will obviously getting just random bits of armor. What you're more likely to see is that you'll probably get at least 3 out of these 5, at least 1 armor piece, and then at least 1 weapon or accessory. So there is a chance, really weird odd chance, that you could potentially spawn in a whole set of apprentice armor, but very doubtful. So I would say probably the best items are going to be this slime. Absolutely having that pet early is really beneficial, as it's good for taking on bosses. The sticky stick is pretty powerful, but you do need a lot of mana to use it. And the crescent ring giving you 40 max mana, that's pretty big considering so many of the arm pieces only just about give that themselves as well. And the range gear is okay too, getting lots of critical hit damage and range attacks with it. Not so much the rusty dagger, you'll usually come across plenty of them as you're exploring anyway. The rosemary necklace is going to give you 15 max health, and the melting crystal ring gives you 5% dodge chance. When they're combined, you get 13% physical range damage. For sure, the slime pet is definitely something it'd be nice to get, and if you do get it within the first 2 tries, great. It gives nearly 9% extra damage against bosses and slows them down, but there are other slimes that you'll find much more powerful than this. But for sure, the sticky stick does have a cool effect. It's like playing Peggle, but it's pretty slow to utilise with only 1 attack or 1 projectile every second. But yeah, it will bounce around doing damage to enemies as well as slowing them down. So yeah, I would spend maybe 1,000 of your hard-earned coins until you get absolute tons and you just want to get the completionist and get everything you can. Otherwise, save the rest for better slime bosses. Hopefully this more in-depth guide has helped you if you're brand new to the game. Hopefully you didn't dip out after the first 2 minutes and you got better understanding of how things work. This applies to pretty much every boss in the game. They'll have percentage chances of dropping certain items. I'm going to do my best to go through every single boss and give you the full lowdown. If you did find this video useful, leave a like, check out the rest of my Core Keeper guides, and I'll see you rat bags later.